Morgan McSweeny has resigned. The Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeny, the man behind Starmer Labour, has resigned just in the last 20 or so minutes. Morgan McSweeny has resigned as Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff after accepting full responsibility for advising on the appointment of Lord Mandelson, the story says. In a statement, he said, "After careful reflection, I have decided to resign from the government. The decision to appoint Peter Mandelson was wrong. He has damaged our party, our country and trust in politics itself. When asked, I advised the Prime Minister to make that appointment and I take full responsibility for that advice. In public life, responsibility must be owned when it matters most, not just when it's most convenient. In the circumstances, the only honourable course is to step aside." Mr. McSweeny said his decision had not been an easy one and had defended his record, insisting his motivation had always been to elect and support a government that puts the lives of ordinary people first and leads us to a better future for our country. We'll get back to that in a minute. His statement continued, "I leave with pride in all we have achieved, mixed with regret at the circumstances of my departure. But I have always believed there are moments when you must accept your responsibility and step aside for the bigger cause. As I leave, I have two further reflections. Firstly, and most importantly, we must remember the women and girls whose lives were ruined by Jeffrey Epstein and whose voices went unheard for far too long. Secondly, where I did not oversee the due diligence and vetting process, I believe that processes must now be fundamentally overhauled. This cannot simply be a gesture but a safeguard for the future. I remain fully supportive of the Prime Minister. He is working every day to rebuild trust, restore standards and serve the country. I will continue to back that mission in whatever way I can. It has been the honour of my life to serve," Mr. McSweeny concluded. Echoes of Theresa May at the end there. If at this point you still don't know who Morgan McSweeny is, congratulations. You've managed to stay well sheltered from this absolute shitstorm. And, all power to you. However, if you do want to know, and for a quick recap, go to my video, Is This the End for Starmer? Anyway, let's just address a couple of points within the statement, shall we? So Mr. McSweeny said, defending his record, "A government that puts the lives of ordinary people first and leads us to a better future for our great country." I would argue, Mr. McSweeny and Mr. Starmer, because you do not get away with this, that you guys are responsible for the sharpest decline in Britain that this country has seen in centuries. You have literally overseen the full destruction of our culture and the division of our people against the government. That is not hyperbole. That is 100% the truth. You only have to look around to see how much people hate this government and the damage that it's done. I mean, Keir Starmer's popularity rating is the lowest any Prime Minister has ever been, and Mr. McSweeny sits behind that as the puppet master. So I don't think that he has ever been interested in what the people of Britain need. He is interested, as is Keir Starmer, in what they want to deliver against their ideology, and it's failed. He also goes on to say that he leaves with pride in all that has been achieved, with mixed regret at the circumstances of departure, but I've always believed that there are moments when you must take responsibility and step aside for the bigger cause. On the face of it, that seems quite honourable, doesn't it? Seems quite honourable. But what he's done there, I mean, all that they've achieved. Was it 14 U-turns? Freezing pensioners? Farmers on the verge of suicide? Cousin marriage? Locking up people for tweets. 2.5 year sentences for tweets. These are your achievements, by the way. And let's not forget the appointment of the Prince of Darkness himself, Peter Mandelson. This is not just a mistake, okay? This is not just a mistake. McSweeney knew everything. Check out my video. McSweeney knew everything, as did Keir Starmer. So I'm not accepting this as an honourable departure. This is just someone who's got caught out, finally, and they're paying their penance. But what does this mean for Keir Starmer? Because in this statement, it's very clear that Morgan McSweeney has agreed to accept all culpability, all responsibility for the decision. But for me, this is like a striker resigning because he missed the goal. Okay? And the manager saying, it's nothing to do with me. It's absolutely nothing to do with me. That striker made the decision in the moment. I just happened to pick him. It was just my pick. I picked him every week. He's the man I pinned our whole championship hopes on. I picked him, but it's nothing to do with me. And the striker resigns from the team. That's what's going on here. This is a complete obfuscation from Keir Starmer of his responsibility. And there is going to be much more to follow on this, because this does not let him off the hook. This has not let him off the hook whatsoever. Keir Starmer's government is now in ruins. Tatters and ruins. There's no coming back. He says in his statement that Keir Starmer's working every day to regain trust in politics. There aren't enough days left on planet Earth until it blows up because the sun explodes for Keir Starmer to work on restoring trust. I would say there isn't anybody in the Labour Party, Conservative Party or Liberal Democrats that could work hard enough, if they worked 24 hours a day and didn't sleep for 1 billion years, to restore trust in government in the UK. Look at where we stand. Utter division. Culture destroyed. People pushed aside. For what? DEI, multiculturalism. A failed mission. A failed philosophy. A failed ideology. Honestly, this is a mess. Let's remind ourselves of the scope and the role of Chief of Staff to any Prime Minister, really. The responsibilities include advising the Prime Minister on government policy, party politics and communication strategies, overseeing and managing Downing Street political staff and the work of special advisors, gatekeeping, sitting outside the Prime Minister's office and controlling who gets in and who doesn't, seeing what the Prime Minister sees and accompanying the PM to meetings. Now, if you ever sat there, like many of us have, and wondered what on earth Keir Starmer's politics are, and concluded he doesn't have any, he doesn't have a backbone, he doesn't seem to stick to anything, and that's because he doesn't. Morgan McSweeney was his man. Morgan McSweeney was his political mind. Morgan McSweeney made the decisions, right? And that's why he's stepping down. But that doesn't mean that Keir Starmer is not responsible just because he's inept, just because he doesn't have a backbone, just because he's a political bottom feeder, in more ways than one, I understand, allegedly. It doesn't mean that he gets away with this, and he won't get away with this. And if you're feeling the frustration in my voice, hopefully it probably represents the frustration you're feeling too. But it's because it's this type of political chicanery that drives me absolutely mental. This is self-preservation at this point. There is no way back for Keir Starmer. You can see that Morgan McSweeney had a very extensive scope in terms of gatekeeping for the Prime Minister, and he has been sat behind, as I've said before, everything that Keir Starmer has achieved. It was also part of the Corbyn upward trend and downward trend. McSweeney has been involved for a long time. He was Mandelson's protege. But he was the man steering the ship. Steering the ship. Okay? Keir Starmer blindly going along with it. That's what we're supposed to believe. The process and rules-driven man just blindly going along with it because this Irishman says it's okay. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. It's going to be incredibly interesting now to see how Keir Starmer copes, because arguably Keir Starmer didn't choose Morgan McSweeney. Morgan McSweeney chose Keir Starmer. He's been the kingmaker and now he's gone. And many in the parliamentary Labour Party have resented Morgan McSweeney. He's briefed against them. He's stopped anyone in the parliamentary party getting access to Keir Starmer. He thinks they've taken Labour to the right. I mean, I don't think so, and I'm pretty sure you don't either, but that's the feeling within the parliamentary party. And now I think what we're going to see is an exposed Keir Starmer who is pushed out very quickly. Now, it's up to somebody coming in whether they want to do so now and take on the chin what's going to happen in May with the local elections, which is inevitably going to be incredibly bad for Labour, so that'll be immediately on their record. But one thing I do know for certain, whether they come in before May or after May, they will lurch to the left. They don't know how to do otherwise. They really don't. And that looks like probably Rayner. Angela Rayner, absolutely. Angela Rayner, Prime Minister. Very, very probable, I would argue. Who else is going to do it? Ed Miliband? Oh my God. Wes Streeting? Wow. Andy Burnham? Probably no chance now. Not unless they oink out the Greek lady and put him in, which I don't even know if they can do. So look, they're a mess. Keir Starmer isn't going to cope without McSweeny, and the parliamentary party don't like the way this Labour government is run, and they will want someone to the left. All of this is incredibly bad news for the rest of us, because whether we want it or not, this government is going to stay in situ. And I guarantee this, Angela Rayner is spending her day right now deleting tweet after tweet after tweet, because when this happened under the Conservative Party and Rishi Sunak came in, for instance, she was the first person to complain and say, we need a general election, and we need a general election now. So perhaps she's going to be duplicitous. Who would have thought it? Maybe we'll see a general election. I don't know. Is Reform ready for a general election? Is the Green Party ready for a general election? Is the country ready for a general election? And by the way, if you voted Labour, this is on you partly. Really have a hard think, because all you were doing was either voting with your ideology, which is a nonsense and been proven so unequivocally, or you were voting just because they were different, and that's no reason to vote. You really need to think about what you want. What the Green Party is offering is a lurch to the left, to the left, to the left, and all part of the same convention. I think in order for Great Britain to survive, I don't even mean recover in some way, I mean to survive, we've got to look to the right. We've got to look to tradition. We're in a mess. To be continued. Please like, subscribe and share. Go to @PaulCoxComedy on every platform. Thank you very much for supporting me. Keep it real.